All right. I think it is 9:10 in Atlanta and 6:40. It should be in India and 5:10 in Dubai. So we'll start um, our session today, second session of the day. And the topic is guidance from higher dimension. So we will be discussing that in three parts. First is understanding of what is meant by this higher dimension. Okay. Second is that who are the higher dimensional beings we can connect to. So what are the broad categories of them? And third part will be the procedure, how to connect, how to communicate. That will be the last part. So first we'll start with the understanding part of it. What is meant by the higher dimension? As we are understanding spirituality in the scientific way, so we'll not go into the jargons and the terminology used in different religious texts and things like that. So just simply understanding is that higher dimension means they're in a different vibrational bandwidth. Our art plane, we are having a certain vibration. So higher vibration, we call it a higher dimensions. Just I was giving that example in the morning as the light spectrum, or it can be sound also. So sound, our normal audible frequency is normally say 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz on that range, but we can hear. So we operate through that. It does not mean outside this frequency, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, there is no other frequency of sound available. Definitely there's there. In fact, in both ways, they can go up to infinite. They can be infinitely, hugely high, or absolutely fraction by fraction low, 0.00000001 hertz possible. So when we talk about that higher dimension, that means higher than our normal operating range. As for giving example of the sound, then if some sound is created at say 2 to 3 megahertz, it's beyond our listening capacity. But they did produce the sound that we cannot hear. Maybe some equipment and all, they can capture that and convert it into our level, but that's a different issue. Per se, directly we cannot hear, but it does not mean that they don't exist. You can say that those are called ultrasonics, like higher than the audible frequency of sound. Similarly, which is below that, below 20 hertz, maybe it is 0.1 hertz or something. Those category of the sound waves is called subsonic, like below our hearing capacity, because it is so low, we cannot hear them. Maybe some animals and all, they can hear, but we don't. Human beings, we cannot hear. So there are two categories. Normal scientific understanding is we operate in a certain bandwidth, and it is not full. Our spectrum is not full. So there always a possibility, some wave or something to exist, which is beyond our range, both upward and downward. Here also, we have in the art plane, when we are operating, there is something which is vibrating below us. And those are normally called the lower plane, or whatever, hell or whatever. If it's patal or this kind of stuff. So these are the lower vibration than what we operate. And something is called above that, heavenly or something. It is beyond us, like higher than us. They're vibrating higher than us. So higher dimensional beings are those whose vibrationally they are higher than us. That is the scientific understanding. There are different categories, of course. Higher means it can go up to infinite values. So there may be some different levels there. And I don't want to go into the detail of explanation of each and every level, but the ancient rishis and the munis and rishis of course, they were there from the, say, maybe 5,000 years back, or the Veda and all. I'm not going to explain, but I'm just giving, just for example, they have given, there are 7 lokas. They call it Bhulok, Mrityulok, this earth plane. Above then there are 7 dimensions, They call it Bhu, Bhuvar, Savar, Mahar, Jnanalok, Tapalok, Satyalok. These kind of things. I don't want to go into the detail which characteristic and all. It's not necessary. Those will be a theoretical understanding. What I'm saying is, based on the frequency domain, their characteristics are different. Okay, so there is some operating. We cannot see, we cannot do that. We cannot go there unless until we raise our vibration. And that's what they did. They raised their vibration to enter into that domain, and they can feel, they can experience what was happening there. Okay, that is possible. We can also go to the higher dimension by raising our own vibration first. And then second thing, when come to the procedure, I will explain in detail. Then we have to cross the barrier of mind. If the mind is chattering, we cannot visit there even. So quieten the mind. That we practice meditation, no thought zone. Raising our vibration, and there is something about the intention and all that, where you like to go and to whom to visit and so and so. So that we'll explain later on. But first you understand that. So these are the levels. It is purely based on the vibration. Earth plane, the energy is a denser, because we have that energy converted into the mass, actual physical bodies and things like that. In higher dimension, there is no physical body. Okay, those are energy bundles vibrating at the different levels. That is why physically we cannot meet them. We cannot go and like a talk, like we cannot have the 5 senses to interact with them. So we have to go vibrationally, and then we can interact with them. So to interact, basically what I'm saying, we need a common bandwidth so that communication is possible. Otherwise, we remain detached. Like, suppose in the world, there are 2 different countries. Suppose, say, one is, UAE, another is France. So if we need to interact, then some connection need to be established. No? If you want to travel, you have to take a flight and go there. Some medium is needed, which will connecting both. Same here. If we don't take that, we'll never been able to meet. Somebody is living in UAE or somebody is living in France, they will never meet in the lifetime. And there are many who never meet because they don't establish that communication or the transportation which is necessary to go and interact and things like that. It is as simple as that. Okay. So basically, if it is not known to you, it does not mean they don't exist. There are many places in the world we have not visited, but we know they exist because somebody else visited, and there is enough proof and enough thing to accept that yes, that kind of place exists there. Same here. Okay. So now the question is that why we need to communicate with the higher dimensional. We're in the higher vibration than us. Why we need to communicate? There are many purposes. One is to know more, to know about the truth, have more knowledge, more experience. Not everything in the universe will know by the physical means. Even in this lifetime, if I spend full, I cannot take a rocket and go to the nearest the star of the same galaxy. It is so far away. Okay. The star, I think Sirius or something, name of the star. But anyway, we cannot go to the planets of that star. It is so far away, you cannot physically go there. But energetically, we can. Okay, so higher dimension to know more about that universe. That's one. Secondly, to obtain guidance. Because the higher vibration, there is knowledge is more, the wisdom is more. We need to get that and enrich ourselves. There can be other requirements like healing. Something we cannot heal ourselves. We get connected with the higher energy and get ourselves healed, or our family healed, our community healed, our society healed, or the whole humanity healed. We need that power. We need that kind of energy. That's why also we need to contact there. So there are various reasons we need to contact the higher dimensional beings. This is not a tourism that just for the sake of interacting, we're interacting. It's not that. So if there is a purpose, then you will be guided, you will be there to contact with them. So this is about the fundamental understanding of the what we meant by the higher dimensional beings. Okay. You may ask where they are located. This where question comes from your idea of a space as a physical space. Okay. It may not be physical. They may exist everywhere. Omnipresent. I think last time I was talking about 3 qualities of the universal consciousness: omniscience, omnipotent, and omnipresent. Okay. They can parallelly exist in the same space where you are in, because they're in a different vibrational frequencies. Similar way that lot of TV channels, they are operating, sending signals through air, but you can catch each one of them separately, right? They can parallelly transmit the signals. In one fiber optic cable, 1,000 people connection can be established from the same cable. Only their bandwidth are different. So those are all possible. At the same place, there are all the ranges are possible. We know that scientifically it's possible. Same here. So to contact them, you need not to go anywhere. Right now, wherever you are, there you can connect because of that quality. They are omnipresent. You can get connected everywhere, wherever you are. Okay. So higher dimension does not mean you need a rocket to fly on the sky and then meet them there. No need. It is an energetic connection. You just establish the link and then connect it and do it. It can be done in simple meditation. Okay, so only your intention and the procedure, again, I will come back later on. But this is the idea of what we meant by the higher dimensions. What is meant, of course, higher means there will be some lower also. Yes, they are there. Some lower dimensional beings are also there. We don't want to meet them because of obvious reasons. We don't want any negativity and things like that to spoil whatever we have. And our own operating level, what we call as a home, and our living space or things like the earth plane, we call it. So there is a 3 plane: lower plane, earth plane, heavenly plane. So fundamentally, these 3 things. And so these are the fundamental understanding. Okay. So this completes the first part. understanding of what are the higher dimensional beings and who are they. I will come back later. Just the understanding, it's just a frequency, it's a vibration, that's all. Second part is coming that who are those higher dimensional beings? One thing I need to also emphasize here, higher dimension not always means they are higher in vibration. They are higher in vibration, but they're higher because of their purity. If some entity is purer than us, they're in higher level. So if, suppose particularly for the healing and other things, if we can get in touch with somebody who is purer than us, then we get healed. Because purity they share, it helps us to overcome that whatever the deficiency or whatever the gaps we have, fill the gap and we elevate. Okay, so it can be higher vibration or higher purity that we have to get in touch with so that we can get ourselves healed and go elevate ourselves. With that understanding, so far it is clear to everybody. Any questions so far on that? Okay. Second part is who are those entities? Who are those things? There are many. Okay, I just listed few to whom we normally interact. Okay, I'm not claiming this is the only exhaustive list or this is the best. I'm not claiming that. I just selected few who I have that personal understanding and direct experience. There are many other different types of things. I don't want to mention also, then the discussion will go somewhere else and I will not have a direct experience. I can share it with you. But there are many types of higher dimensional being. Okay. So first I start with first entity, what we can connect with is called the nature, Mother Nature. What we get, the purity from the nature, the originality, the uncontaminated version of it. We spoil many things, okay? But if we can get in touch with it in the natural environment, we ourselves get healed. Simply being in the present of that natural environment. So what are those things? Support that can be plants, flowers, herbs. Suppose we're walking through a forest, we will automatically get healed. The ambience and the sound the forest generates, the trees and their energies are healing us. So that is one way. We can also have some kind of water body. It can be a lake, it can be a river, it can be waterfalls, it can be a sea or sea beach. If you go and take a dip there or just simply looking at the sea will be healing. Walking on the sea beach will be healing because they are in direct contact with the Mother Earth. The purity, we get in touch with the purity that heals us. And also, similar way, the earth itself, rocks and earth, but the natural earth elements, like we visit a mountain or sit inside a cave, all are healing. Okay, so if you can spend some time living in a forest or in a mountain and drink normal natural water and get fruits and all, will be healed very quickly. What we are doing here, we are taking the natural vibration, purity of Mother Earth, we are inducing ourselves into it. We ourselves got disconnected. we were actually the part of Mother Earth. But we ourselves develop certain kind of lifestyle and certain kind of thinking, certain kind of behavior that disconnected us from the earth. Many a time when I recommend for a healing, you might have, I'm sure many of you who contacted, sometimes I tell them when you are in anxiety and things like that, just walk barefoot on the grass, maybe 10 minutes a day. That will be healing. Why? Because you are in a direct contact with the Mother Earth. Or take a dip in the seawater. Okay, we do karmakshala and also seawater. They take out all our negative karmas. Okay, they absorb. They have the capacity to do that. Okay, the sunlight heals, but sun I will come a little later. First, let us talk about the nature on earth. Okay. So that is how. So it is the Mother Earth is a conscious entity. Okay, if you take help of Mother Earth, we get healed. This is the simply understanding of that. Second is, to me, the celestial body. Celestial means it is not on the earth, but we can interact with them, like a moon, sun, the stars, the Milky Way, what is visible. Okay, many things. Moon has a maximum, the planets, of course, these are there, Mars and things like that. The moon has a maximum effect on us. The fundamental reason is that 70% of our body is made of water, human body. And moon has a maximum influence on the water. You can see the high tide, low tide, and something is happening. So moon has an effect. So if we can tune into moon's energy, we will progress. And that is the fundamental idea of full moon meditation and things like that. Moon also affect our mind. So if you go thoughtless and the meditative state, then we get upliftment. But if your mind is chattering, it will increase the chatter. Moon has a magnifying effect, whatever we are doing. Okay. If you're meditating, you will go such a deep, full moon I'm talking, such a deep meditation. But if your mind is chattering, then you will go further into chattering. And if it is sometimes, if the mental balance is not there, it can enhance the mental imbalance also. We call them lunatic, no? Lunar. Because they enhance the mind chattering, the disconnection, dysfunctional mind. So I'm just saying, be careful. It is a magnifying glass. It will not generate anything, but what you have, it will enhance. We'll use it positively for our own benefit. Okay, we know that 70% of body is water. We cannot get out of that water. You said, okay, for the time we will pump it out and put it back again. It's not possible. Okay. So you don't know what's happening, but moon cycle affects us for sure. The high tide, low tide, equivalent thing happens within our body. Also the sun. And I mentioned earlier, all the energy of earth originally came from sun. In the geography book, we have learned that earth has been created, a portion of the sun has come out and get cooled down, and then external surface got cooled down and the earth has been formed. If you go to the center of the earth, it is still molten lava, similar to sun. Okay. So what does that mean? The whole earth has been created, given birth by the sun. Whatever energy, physical energy, whatever energy we are using here, though came from sun. They come on the photosynthesis. On the plant, we eat the plant, get the energy. Or the plant eaten by the chicken or goat or something, we eat them and we get that energy. Okay, so this is everything is coming from sun, physical energy, what we use here. So that way, sun has a huge impact on us. It is running It is running Earth, practically. So sun, you don't think it is only the solar energy and rest we are independent from sun. No, everything we do, we are walking, talking, all are came from sun only. Whatever you have eaten, those came, the product came from sun, the energy part of it. The plant also grown from the earth. Okay, so anyway, so we can take help of sun to heal ourselves. It has got that power. The sunlight has got that power. Then also the stars, galaxies and the Milky Way. So the stars, they are having also giving in the sky, they have a different types of energies, and all the planets, they also influence us. Just concentrating on a star, they can uplift us from there. You know, there are a lot of study done by the different formation of the stars, no? Dhruv, and there are many other constellations and figures and all, and they have that impact. So those are, we can utilize them, we can get in touch with them and the celestial bodies, what we can see, what we can feel, what we know through them, which is manifested, which is physical, but far away from us. We cannot reach there, but we know they exist because we can see them on the sky, or some report from the, telescopes and things like that, the astronauts or whatever space study they have done, and from that we know. Okay, so these are the nature and celestial body. They are physical, to whom, so they are purer than us, or source of that energy. We can use them for healing. Next, I am coming to the energy. We can get healed by invoking the energy, or invoking some energy which is vibrating higher into our body, then our body gets healed. So of course, this energy is not visible. There is not like a moon or sun or sea water, take a dip. It's not possible. So you need to, the energy is already available. Normally we invoke energy through breathing, through air. And that energy is pranic energy, life force energy, which runs our life. Here I'm not talking physical energy, what I explained in the sunlight. Eating food, that is a physical energy, mechanical energy. Now I'm talking the life force energy. The difference between a live body and a dead body. You know, a person died maybe a few hours back. His body will have all the organs, hand, mouth, stomach, kidney, everything. Then what is the difference between that body and a live body? Because live body has a life force energy. It's like a maybe electric bulb. One is switched off, it doesn't have energy, it cannot glow. Another is having a light bulb. It is, energy is passing through it, electrical energy, and that's why it is glowing. So that energy which runs our life force energy, if we can invoke that into our body, pranic energy, we get healed. So we can get connected and purify ourselves with that energy. Whatever the deficiencies, disease we may have, if we get that influx of that pranic energy, it heals. And there is also that the healing energy, the different type of other positive energies, what we can invoke into our body, which also heals. One is a pranic energy, of course. There are different types of energy that we can invoke. So we are doing a stomach breathing, 3:2 stomach breathing to invoke these kind of energies. We have a Panch Mahaprana, and there are different types of energy. and balancing energy, like balancing Panch Mahabhuta, which we are constituted of, that fire, water, earth, space, and it's fire, air, space, earth, and water, Panch Mahabhuta. Anyway, so those are the healing energies. If we can balance those energies, we'll get healed. So we can get connected to that. There is some cleansing energy. They can clean whatever the negativity out of the environment you live in or a certain other environment. Here we use the violet flame energy. There are many, but one of them we normally use is a violet flame energy, violet flame cleansing. And Saint Germain is a custodian of that, posted some procedure how to do it and things like that. So there are also cleansing energy. You need not to invoke, you need not to get into your body, but you can pass it through so that it can clean that environment or the situation or something. Those are energetic cleansing. So like whenever I visit somebody's house or space, first thing I do is to cleanse the environment with a violet flame. So it is not physical. So you can just by intention, you can do it. So that already the things that get uplifted. So those are the divine energies. So the first three, what I mentioned about the nature, Mother Earth, the celestial bodies, and the energies which you can invoke into a body, or you can clean it, the energy, and you can go ahead with that. Then I come to the another part of the same, the higher dimensional beings. So now, if you have any question, you can just ask me before I go to the next part. It is still second part is ongoing. It is, you can say first part or 2A. 2B, I will go there. So if you have any question on this first three, you can ask me, because it will be a little different when the rest three things. Okay, no question. It's good.
I have a question.
Yes, Vidya.
What is Reiki energy?
Reiki is a pranic energy. Okay, Reiki is a pranic energy, but it operates through the exchange thing. Like somebody is healed, and the healer and healer, their energy get exchanged. Okay. But method we use in this, the Kriya and the healing we use here, there is no energy exchange. We just connect to the source and flush that whoever wants to receive the energy through intention.
Right.
First we invoke the energy, the master invokes the energy, the healer invokes the energy. Intention, only thing you need to mention the name of the person and the location so that the energy can be sent there.
Right.
That energy go with the intention. So we need to send where it need to go, and it goes there and healing happens. There is no exchange.
Okay. But does that mean that in Reiki energy, when it's exchanged, you can so get some negative energy from the other person?
Of course. There are many Reiki masters, they come periodically and then clean themselves.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so, but that's what I'm saying, that what we are using here, that is to avoid that kind of thing. Right. We just get the connection, direct connection with the divine connection, directly to the person who is receiving it. There is no exchange.
Okay, got it.
In fact, also in the morning, also I discussed in the detail. Just I'll touch upon that. Otherwise, it takes a lot of time. The morning session went up to 2 hours. So what happens is that we healer need not to know what is the problem, the disease.
Okay.
Only we channel energy to the good health, mental, physical health. Okay. Right. So what is the target? We channel healing to that target. No need to know exactly where it happened. It is an elbow joint or knee joint or in a stomach inside something happened. No need. Diagnosis is not needed. But we know where to reach the healthy body, healthy mind, right?
Right.
Full of life. So we channel energy into that, and that person get healed. Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, all right. All right. So second part is about, I'm talking about the beings. Okay. So far, whatever we mentioned about, they are so-called non-being. Okay. The nature and the celestial objects of the energy, but I'm not now talking about the actual being. Okay. Normally we connect to the first set of beings we connect are called ascended masters. Okay. Ascended masters means once upon a time they lived on planet Earth. They had a life, human life. They maybe left the body maybe hundreds, thousands years back, doesn't matter. But they are available in the higher dimension. They guide us. We take help from them, like Gautam Buddha, Jesus, and there are many. They were there. They had they already lived on this planet Earth. Mahavatar Babaji is immortal, so I cannot claim that he left the body, but he is also, you can consider as the ascended masters, and he is guiding us all the time. He's a present. He's our moksha guru, ultimate end of our soul's journey when we'll merge into the universal consciousness. That is the time he will be guiding that process. So anyway, so there are many ascended masters. So, and we can take help from them. And they are now many the healers and all, they sometimes they call their collective, like Gautam Buddha collective consciousness, or Jesus consciousness, or Krishna consciousness. That is also correct. Okay, because they are operating at a certain level, they're no longer to be identified with a single body only. They're the collective energy who are guiding us. We can also contact like, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, and then Shirdi Sai Baba and all. They are all there in the collective level. We can invoke their energy, we can communicate with them, we can take advice from them. And they lived a human life, so they exactly know what we are talking about, what we are going through. Okay, so there is a great help, and they are already guiding us. Whole humanity, they are guiding. So we can contact them. Second category what is about the angelic dimension. Angels and archangels. They are the entity very. They are very light body, and the very high level of light energy, very loving, this energy. The only difference is they never took birth as a human body. Okay. So they are there, they're guiding us, they're with our soul, but they never took any birth on this planet. And so that way, they don't have the burden of any kind of karma or anything collected from the earth. So they are lighter, and they also guide us. There are different types of being there. So we connect with them, we can seek help from them. And something is called guiding angels, which are there with our soul all the time. Entire soul's journey, we can take their help. So like my guiding angel is violet light, spiritual energy. So there are different types. Don't think that angel means only the fairy with a wing and thing. There are different types. Okay, but entire that domain who have not taken as a human birth. In fact, they say that human has been made as a replica of the creator. But the angels are not created as a replica of the creator. their duties are given to serve the humanity. So that is also another way you can look at it. So their duty is to provide services to humanity. That is the reason that themselves, they never took birth. So anyway, so this is about this angels, and there are many, like just let me share one story. My personal experience, they're very powerful. The archangels and Archangel Michael, and they are very, very powerful. When 2015, I visited with Prem Nirmalji, our whole team visited ashram of Reverend Alex Orbito in Philippines. He has his main ashram is called the Pyramid of Asia. That's the main place where so in that I think I have already undergone 2 times the psychic surgery. By just bare hand he can operate. Okay, I have already shared those photos earlier, and that's a different thing anyway. So he opened all my chakras and removed whatever it is, the blockages and things like that. So many things. But beauty is you don't feel any pain. Like the patient comes, like lie down in like an operation theater, then Alex, he does his psychic surgery, and just the blood comes out, but he just put one hand, it heals immediately. The wound, the cut. Immediately, patient get up and step down from that table and go away. That's it. Only a minor scratch type of mark is there. Otherwise, there is nothing. Okay. Because I wanted to experience myself. Because when I heard as I never believed that this is possible. But I did it. First-hand experience I'm sharing. They are the masters who vibrate at a very high level. And that's why any material comes to them, he explained, okay, how to do it. Suppose you have a cup and you put a cup full of water and you put some kind of coin into that. Then he says, can you see the coin? He said, yes. So he said, similar way, I can see your negativity, where the blocks are, what is the gallbladder stone. Gallbladder stone is a big thing. He can remove negativity also, which is non-physical. Okay, blocks and negativities. So he said, when I see you, I can see your each and every cell of your body. And when you go near that master, your body becomes like a liquid, like that water. He said, suppose I ask you in the cup of water, you take the coin out. How do you do? It's very easy. In the cup, we put our fingers, hold the coin, take it out. The coin is out. He says, what happened to that water? You put a hand, so there must be water has got sprayed away. No, you cut the water. And we say, what is the big deal? Water that heals by itself. Well, the same thing happens in your body. I can see where the negativity, where the block is, even the physical stuff, like a gallbladder stone or something like that. You put a hand there, hold it, take it out, body heals by itself. You see, that is his technology. Only thing is we cannot make our body fluid because we don't believe in that. Believe is a different mind game. I'm saying we don't have to go to that level of understanding of the energy, playing with the energy to get into that. But I have experienced myself. Also, there is my Guru Bahan, Dr. Alpa Dalal. That was her birthday. I saw Alex Orbito just holding hand, just like a fist. From air, he created one ball, solid ball, metal, not metal, like some material, solid, created out of air and give it to her in front of me. The technology of that is, you see, now you listen carefully. Because now I know it is possible. Earlier I used to say, oh, people are just, giving some kind of story and all those kind of things. what happens is all elements are available, even in the air. Through your intention, okay, Ichha Shakti, through your intention, you get those kinds of elements into your hand. It will come there. You can manifest that in your hand. Then he created a small ball, but you can create anything if you give more energy. And then that he gifted to that Dr. Alpa. And also there is a different story that after that we have taken to a place called Pyramid of Light in the top of a mountain. This is such a holy place. There is no electricity there. Small huts are there. People do meditate, and there are some chakra stations. And top of the mountain we go. So we visited that. And there is a big tree there. Okay, that is also that you can say you can communicate with the plants also. When I was meditating below a plant, it's a very big tree, hundreds of years old. Then there's a local, because I was talking about the angelic dimension, that is owned by a local, white lady is her name. It's an energy. She never took birth in the human body. Just I'm sharing the story. So I connected her because that is her place. That's why you're visiting that. And she told me how to use that ball created by Alex for healing. Then I called Alpa. I said, Alpa, come. This is how to use it. It is very simple. You just take some glass of water and dip that ball into that water. Maybe after a few hours, then take the ball out. That water, if somebody has got pain or something, you just apply that water on top of it, on the skin, and allow the water to evaporate on its own. It will take away your pain and go. See? So that technology came from that, when I was sitting in the tree, connecting with that white lady. In the final day, 4 o'clock, early morning, we went there. That's a big story. And Guruji, Prem Nirmalji was there, Guruma Bharti Nirmalji was there, and we were about 30 people. So what happened the final day, that white lady bless everybody. In that pyramid of light, at the top of the mountain, there is some kind of structure. And in that, we were all sitting there. So Alex came, and then when he connected to that, he got into trance. Alex, he can literally fall. Somebody has to hold from the back. And they sat him on a chair, and then one by one, we went in front of him and sit down, including Guruji, Guruma, and after that, me, I was the third. We sit down in front of him. He put the hand on our head, and she tells something. She tells through the voice of Alex. So now look at that experience. I'm visiting that place with my Guru and Guruma. And we've gone to a place, which is the holy place, top of the mountain. Normally people are not allowed to go there. With a master of that level, Reverend Alex Orbiter. So Alex Orbiter hand is on my head, and white lady is speaking through him. So how many masters involved here? And first thing what white lady said, I got awestruck. She was telling, she means Alex's voice in the trance. He was telling that Babaji is guiding you. My goodness. So in this environment, it is June 2015, I'm talking. So Guruji, Guruma was there. Alex has put hand on my head, and he is channeling that message from white lady, and she is telling Babaji is guiding you. I I got awestruck from where it comes. They have recorded an audio into the whole thing, all 30 people and all these things. So it was just that the white lady, so she is, as I just mentioning, that from the angelic dimension, she connects to Alex Orbito, and through him, she gives all the, whatever blessings and whatever life mission and everyone, and she's there. So the thing was, her mentioning about Babaji in that setup was, I got awestruck into that one. Anyway, and then the last one I'm trying to discuss here is the deity and gods and goddesses. Okay, what we pray. So just for the understanding point of view, the god and goddesses and the deities, they were never been in the human body. No, wherever it is, thousands and thousands years back also, they didn't came into, there was story, a lot of story, movies are made and all those things, but actually they are not that human beings. So what are they? They are represent different attributes of universal consciousness. I repeat here, different deities and gods and goddesses, they represent different attributes of universal consciousness, the one. Some of the attributes may be we connect to the energy. If you need more knowledge, then there is some god or goddess is there. If you need more power, physical power, then one. If you wanted to be successful in the business, then there is another god. If you are to successful you want to create wealth, then is a different god and goddess. So all these are different attributes what we need to connect to. We need to energetically connect, and from that vibration will invoke into our body, and that will transform our life. That's how it works. So we pray, connect to that kind of energy, that kind of attributes, and when it comes, we get induced with that kind of vibration, and that vibration, suppose a knowledge, you want to gather more knowledge, we connect to that god and goddess, and then we get it. And the different cultures have a different type of god and goddess, but purpose is same. The god is created for a certain purpose, certain attributes. So we have to pray and to get connected and invoke that energy, and that's how it works. All right. So this is about that higher dimensional beings, what I just mentioned. And this is how we connect, and that is how they are working in our lives. So now the remaining part is how to connect them. Okay, so the way with the procedure to connect them, first what you need to do is you have to enhance your own vibration, because they are higher dimensional being, as I mentioned, they're vibrating in the higher level. So to get in touch with them, higher your own vibration, easier to establish the contact. Means you can meet them in the midway. But if you are very low in vibration, most likely you will not be able to connect at all. There is no common bandwidth is possible where this communication will take place. So first thing I will advise, raise your vibration, cellular vibration. Almost everyone who learned from me have sent them stomach breathing, 108 stomach breathing and all. That is the way to enhance your vibration. There are many, but you can practice that. It will raise your vibration, and also regularly doing Kriya and meditation will activate your chakra and calm down your mind. So you are ready to receive this kind of communication. The higher you vibrate, the more you are in no thought zone, you are easier to get into the touch with that. Then after that, when you are meditating, you have to bring your conscious intention that to whom or what you really want. Wanted to have more knowledge or connect with a particular master or get some healing. So if you bring your intentions in there, and you have to stay focused, don't bring and then start flickering here and there. So keep on repeating till it manifests. Okay, sometimes for this you need not to be meditating per se. Some people, they are doing it while jogging and, while just sitting alone somewhere, they're just connecting. It's all possible. Only thing, you keep repeating the intention that I like to communicate, I need your guidance and things like that, play it. So when you are playing it, what will happen is that your other thoughts will not be able to enter. And same intention, you are trying to put energy on, so then it is a better chance of you getting connected. But if you are vibrating very high, it is just an instant you get connected. You don't need to input any effort. Okay, that I already explained earlier. So your own vibration also determines the quality of communication. Then sometimes that you can create certain environment that helps. Some people lit a candle or a lamp or put some kind of agarbatti or bring some flowers or the fragrance. So that helps. So those will not be directly related to your communication, but creating an environment or ambience, it helps us. Okay, or you have a particular place for meditation and the puja, something like that. Sit down there. It will be easier to connect from there rather than from anywhere else. Sit straight, like a meditating and all these things. And then you can call upon, I lovingly call upon so and so, please come and guide me. So then you can feel their presence. Only you have to make sure your mind is not chattering. If the mind is chattering, then most likely you will miss that. Okay, so that is the thing you have to go. And sometimes those kind of messages, if some presence is there, there is a different type of signals and symbols you can establish. If you are repeating, like when I communicate with Mataji, we have decided a particular sound. I will listen. I know Mataji is there. Okay, I can define. You can have your own private setting with the masters. Like Shirdi Sai Baba come, I get a certain smell. So I know he's there. I can define that. Like when you come, please give this signal, like this sound or this smell or something, or this kind of certain kind of feeling. Okay, so you can define that, what you are basically, then you can also know which master has come and, their presence, you can feel that way. So this is also, you can define and accordingly you can go with that. And the message you will get, it will come as a feeling, but from your heart, it will be transported to your mind as some kind of new thought. That thought which is not generated by you. Then you know it is something which came from outside. It's not mine. Those are the kind of messages you will receive. It needs practice to do that, to distinguish between your own thought and that thing. So if you are not thinking, your thought mind is quietened, then automatically whatever comes there, those are the messages. And you need not to second guess or think like that on those things. Whatever comes, that is the message. Okay, so you have to accept it and say thank you. And this is how you establish the communication. And if it is a long conversation, end of it is a thank you very much for visiting me, and with deep gratitude and all, to close it properly. So thank you and close it. So this is how we communicate. And it all, because we need to clean our mind space. Why? Because if already there is something, any new thing is adding, you will not able to distinguish. The example I gave, suppose there is a blackboard and lot of things already written there. So new teacher or professor came and written something on top of it. The students will not know which one new, which one old. Everything will look like a junk. Same here. Maybe master came and give you the message, but if you already having some thought running behind, you will not be able to distinguish. So that's why you have to give a focus to calm down your mind. Like in this case, you have to wipe off whatever the existing old things on the blackboard, and then whatever is newly written by the teacher or the professor, you will know, okay, this is the new and that's what it means. So these are the few tips, okay, just I have given you. So to make that communication happen. So initially, whatever you communicate, you check with your, guru or guide to understand whether it's a mind game or it is truly message. After several times confirming, then you will realize which one is truly message and which was just a mind game. So then you need not to consult all the time. So that is how we communicate with the higher dimensional entities and masters, and we get that, and then we use it for upliftment of our progress in our own spiritual journey. So that completes the learning session. So if you have any question, you can ask now.
So Rajdeep, question about those intuitive messages that come, right? So if the message comes in without the interception of the mind, those are intuitive messages, right? Before the mind,
intuitive messages comes as a feeling. If you can catch them in the feeling stage, then it need not to go to your thought, and a chance of confusion will not be there. Okay. That's what we discussed last session. It's a inner knowingness, just feeling. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you are assessing a certain situation. Something you will feel that this is not right. Then you listen to your feeling. It didn't form a sentence or something, just a feeling. That is your inner knowingness.
So that's why they say it's a gut feeling, right?
Correct. Yeah. Okay. All right. So if there's no other question, get ready for our Kriya and meditation. Sit straight.
Guruji, one small thing before we start.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt. Now we are already praying to Mahavatar Babaji.
Yes.
Now, in between, if we start connecting to any angels or anybody else, if we start thinking, is it all right, or is it we should only seek him or Mataji?
No, it's all right. It's absolutely all right. Okay, there is no issues there. Only thing is that make sure you're connecting not higher beings, the light being we call it.
Okay.
Who are with love and light, not any lower being. That is the only caution. Okay. There are other beings also who are in the lower dimension than us. Okay. Don't connect them. That is the only caution for your own benefit. Okay. So only the pure beings or the higher beings or the light beings you call them. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Guruji, I have a question.
Yes, Uma.
Can we know who is guiding angel for us?
No, you have to call.
To know?
You have to call that angel. Okay. Otherwise, what you can do is, if you don't know, then suppose archangels. There are many, I think. Mainly 8, but there are more. So you just go to some Google search, type archangel and their pictures, name and pictures. You look at them, maybe some of the archangel you feel some connection. Okay, then you call that archangel. Okay, this is one. There are different methods, but this is the way if you don't know anyone. But let me say, you don't have to. You go with to whom you know, like Babaji, Mataji and all, then you connect with them. That's all. You don't have to, but if you wish to, you can. Go with that and just see their picture or their name and you will feel some kind of connection. So that means there is some kind of resonance here. Then you pray in his, or just like I connected with Saint Germain for violet flame cleansing. So there are different archangels having different characteristics. So you just see what it feels. You can connect with deity also. You can pray to Ganpati or Lord Shiva, and no issues. Okay. Just pray and get that connection. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.